What up? What up? Good morning and welcome back to another live session. Going live with RT. For those of you who are in the chat room, remember that you can choose between myself and Marcelo in terms of who you want to listen to. You can just go ahead and mute whoever and then, have the other person open. So our ticker symbol is AIM. Why AIM? Well, because we're aiming to shoot in the right direction here today. Aiming for a green day. This one is a tech stock. Seems like they've had some approval for some cancer therapy patient here. So it's opening up a little bit. Honestly, so far, I don't love the price action. We've been a little bit more grindy without a clear pullback on the 5 especially. I mean, on the 1 minute, we did get something, although I thought the range was a little tighter. But it's opening up now. We're seeing more of a range, which is good. Our last area on the bull flag did give 57 versus 42, which is very good. Not too bad, about 16 cents there versus the high and the low. We have 15 minutes to the opening bell, and it looks fairly good. It's been hitting the scans here, as you guys can see. In terms of trades right now, we are a little extended on the 5, unless we see another good bull flag here on the 1 minute. I'm not super interested up here. And this area here was fairly good at 150. So right now we're seeing like 60s by 80, mid 60s, but we have to be careful of the first 5-minute pullback. So it looks like we're getting the first 5-minute pullback, and right here I think patience is key. Not bad, this is pretty healthy, right? It's rare that you'll get a stock that just keeps going, It happens, but not that often. Another beautiful day. Another beautiful day for me to walk myself through the trades, analyze, position myself to be in the best area possible for the entries and setups that I love, and to also push myself here if we happen to see a hot day after the open. We're now at the $0.50 here for AIM. If you guys ever watch Warrior Trading, Ross Cameron, he loves these $0.50 levels, especially. I do too, not as much as I used to, but let's see here if the $0.50 psychological support holds up. So far, there's a small bounce, couple cents. What I like about this pullback is that we're 3 minutes in on the 5, and the volume isn't as high as our bigger candles going up. So there's minimal selling pressure, although, you know, I guess it was due for a pullback. The $0.50. How are we gonna do here on a retest? By the way, the VWAP is at 38. 38 for the VWAP, which I would assume would be the next level if it does Titanic here. You know, sometimes we can overcomplicate things by overthinking and or getting distracted by the tape. But really and truly, you know, when you really sit back and look at what the market is, you know, on a strong stock especially, it's a giant breath, right? We breathe in, we breathe out, you know, we go up, we pull back. It really just comes down to managing risk, managing the trades, and being patient. If the levels aren't correct, you know, keep the stop tight. Even if you get caught in a slippage with flush down, you cut the trade and you look for the next level again. And ranks and repeat, you know, day in, day out. So we got about 10 minutes for the bell. I'm really looking forward to the open here. I'm hoping AIM can continue on a nice uptrend. So far, it's been good, right? After about 9 a.m., really, 8:50, we started curling up here through the VWAP. Looks pretty good. By the way, I'm going to take off the dual screen here in a sec. AIM or an AIN, brother. AIM for now. Let me take off the dual screen here so I don't forget. I know some people do love the scanners there, but you guys can check it out. There could what I'll look for on this one, like, you know, we're on a bear flag here. Time, I mean, there's 9 minutes before the open though, which is a lot of time. You know, we're holding up for now, at least at 50. Do we have what it takes to get over 60? That's the key with the bear flag breakout in this area. So it's trying here. Will it be able to push through? It looks like it's a rejection. Still fighting though, 58. There are some sellers there, 60. They're not huge, but there are some here. Our bids are opening up to the downside. 60 by 56 right there. It's a good fight, but I'd say it's like having some issues for sure. So this is exactly how I want to be throughout the day, you know, just like talking myself through the trades. Some people in the audience might like it, but honestly, it's like it's great for me, you know. Helps you to think clearly of what you want to do, how you want to manage risk. We're still flirting around this 58 area, so it might try here again. High of day is, of course, 80. One eight for high of day. We got about 6 minutes, 7 minutes for the open. Again, we have VWAP, which is like 10 cents below us. You know, if it breaks down, that might be the next obvious area. If not, you know, we're definitely seeing that bigger 5-minute pullback. The half and whole dollars. It's actually really good to see stuff like this, even like, you know, we're kind of like hanging out here. Even if it doesn't hold, it's just good to see, you know, because we're used to seeing these type of setups. Even when hyper scalping a ton in the past, we noticed like a lot of support, a lot of buying, you know, sometimes resistance as well, depending on the situation. Especially when you get up to like $5, $10, 6, 7. A lot of times you get like that boost through the level and you see a nice breakout, man, you know, in at 550, selling for 6. And it's a beautiful 50-cent winner. And it's a sweet trade. So let's see here if it does hold. Again, VWAP there around that 40, 39 level. We got 4 minutes for the open. If it does hold, I would expect to push through 60 into the open, which could be pretty good for a retest of high of day. If not, I want to ease off, wait, see how it does at the VWAP. Make sure we're holding our levels. So right here, let's see, there's a breakdown there, 44. It might sell off. Hopefully it doesn't. Time 27, about 3 minutes. Yeah, I think if it doesn't hold the VWAP, it's probably like an official backside. In which case we'll have to, you know, doesn't mean that it's done forever, but you know, sidelines longer wait just to make sure if we're gonna curl back up. And maybe there's other stocks, UCAR, and some other cheaper ones could be interesting. TPAT Could also be one of those other stocks. Let's just take a look at it again. How are we doing on the 1 minute? It's doing okay. We got 2 minutes for the open. Two minutes. 2 minutes. Yeah, TPAT, TPAT, the highs are at 131. Back through 50 could be interesting. We're coming up to the open. We'll see if it gains that volume. We got a couple of seconds for market open. It might halt up here. There's some lag sometimes on this on one of my level 2 here. It's a tight halt band though. But I suppose it looks like it's gonna get locked in 55. So similar to yesterday, I actually got stopped out there, right? I'm in at 45, about 800 shares, small size. I stop out at 39 at the low of the candle. So we're halted up. That could TPAT is at 120. I forgot my mic was off. But TPAT is at 120. And ARTL a little tricky below VWAP. I think TPAT probably is the better second stock here. But it might need some time to gain that volume. 35.42 for the resumption. Right now, I'd say this one is the obvious one until further notice. So, unless something else looks really good, I don't want to get too involved to decide stocks. We got a little less than 2 minutes. A little over a minute. We got about 35 seconds or so. We're currently at 155. As we know, highs are at 180, but the halt levels are a little on the tighter side. Couple seconds. I hope I'm getting good fills. It's hard to say for sure. So it's a little weaker. It's halting down. A good diff and rip initially, but some weakness after. And we're back to the VWAP here. The halt levels being tight is going to make it a little tricky. Will we see support at the VWAP again? So sidelines until we see something else. Or if this one holds up, it could still hold the VWAP. What we would have wanted to see there for the uptrend, like right away, was the hold of 50 again. And then that retest of that 61 high. TPAT up about 10 cents here from that 120 level. 131 is the pre-market high, and it's kind of hard to say what to expect. Will we see a 5-10 cent move up? It just doesn't seem volatile enough, you know? Like, will we see a good upside range, good upside potential? ARTL back at around that 690 level. The VWAP 9. ARTL, we might halt here. It's 46. Okay. It would be good if AIM is strong. But, you know, if it sells off, it sells off, right? But I'm just kind of looking for like positive momentum here to determine if we're going to really see a strong open or if we're just getting chopped. So even ARTL, hopefully we can continue, right? If it just sells off on a halt down. About a minute for AIM. So AIM looks like it might be finito. A good attempt on that red to green at the VWAP, but no good. So that one was more of a pre-market stock. Well, 2 minutes for ARTL. For me on AIM, I don't think I'll go back to it unless it gets over high of day. 160 with like a halt up or something. So ARTL, I think, might be the one to set the tone. If this one is weak, then the open is probably going to just remain weak. If this one happens to be strong, then we can definitely see some good momentum, and there'll be opportunities for some good trades. So ARTL, hopefully we can see some follow through here for the sake of a strong day here with momentum. As usual on a resumption trade, if we see what we like, no fear, no hesitation. ARTL at 746. I hope I got that fill. Now fly. Fly high. $78 high. We might halt up 795. There are smaller sellers here. Most impressive right there. It's held fairly high after that move, but I want to keep my guard up. $95 high, halt is at 825 going up. Got to be careful of the pullback. We double topped the pre-market highs pretty much, so got to be careful for a pullback. It's interesting because it held up so high versus where we came from, which is pretty good. It's pretty bullish. We got seller at 80, 50,000. Right now, I'm taking smaller positions just for the sake of risk. But if it gets back into another uptrend, I can like size back up some more. We don't want our 5-minute candle to close with a big topping wick. I don't think it'll be too good. Would have been nice if we could have held up higher there. It's saying a low of 7 on that candle. Got to be careful of backside as usual. Our candle has 30 seconds on the 5-minute on the bigger time frame here. So we closed on the 5 with a pretty big wick. And we're like a doji candle there, so some indecision, selling pressure coming in towards the end of that candle. It's still early. The stock could still end up being strong and giving another move, so definitely want to keep paying attention here. Damn, bro, the fills are tough. Fills a little tough. Jesus Christ, bro. Jesus Louise, bro. Look at that. Look at that. Anyhow, I got a really small size, so all these crazy trades when I'm getting filled is okay. When I size back up, that's what's gonna matter on the way up. It seems strong though, right? It seems fairly good so far. Definitely got to throw out a couple more orders though in some of those key areas. Ross 10K ARTL. Getting a good fill is like a impossible task. It could go here. It's hard to say, but it could. It's a little jumpy, a little choppy though. Maybe not ready yet. Fly, fly. Over 7, over 8, almost. Bro, I dare this market to just keep giving these types of moves, bro. Like, the Pastor will be back in action. 32 high, 32 halt. False halt. He's trying to halt again. Aw, of course. Bro, trying to get a good fill is like so hard. Like, jeez. I'm getting in like 15 cents above what I want sometimes. The volatility, you know? Like the moment we're coming down, it's like the stock is already back up. So the broker has no choice of giving me the fill where I'm buying. I need to stop complaining about it because, you know, it is what it is. Probably just need to add into those positions is probably the move to go. You know, kind of risky, but seems like it might have been a double top right there. Bro, come on. Big sellers, 807. Yo, bro, this. Ah, man, I'm gonna go mad here. It's so volatile that it's like the entries that I'm trying to get versus, you know, even coming out, it's kind of tough. It might be coming down. Trying it again. Okay, maybe it's coming down here. The low of the consolidation was about 70, perhaps. Bro, I get stopped out of this thing, bro. Like, come on. Oh boy, oh boy, boy, oh boy. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. See, I tried the exact bottom of this candlestick twice. But the red on the tape, man, just printing, printing, printing. And this time it's going to come down. So that red to green there to 8 was a bluff. Felt like I should have did way better, but you know, all good. The stock still looks bullish in my opinion until further notice. If we break below VWAP, I think it's cooked, but for now, sizing down and just, you know, being more patient here. We got two people in the chat. Enzo in at 71 out at 90, and Zay in at 69 out at 80 and 90. The past store with paper hands selling flat in the dip. Halting down 690. This is sub VWAP territory. TPAT and others. How is AIM? AIM below VWAP and TPAT a little on the slower side. Of course, with ARTL, we were hoping to, you know, hold up and retest the highs again, but seems like the pre-market high rejection was imminent after that double top. I had some good trades. You know, I had 700 shares, like smaller size, but I had some good trades. Biggest size there, 1,600 shares with a 10-cent winner. If like for those of you who are like watching me like more recently, we would get a stock like this, just like this, even though it just sold off right there. We get a stock just like this like every single day. And now it's just depths, like it's stocks just selling off at the open. If a stock can uptrend with range and not give a Christmas tree immediately, I will make money every time, or most of the times at least. But when we get this move up into the resumption and it just sells off, AIM, right? Not to throw any shade, but AIM looks promising and then immediately making a new low, and like all the action came pre-market. It's like just nothing I could do there taking a good trade. It starts off with a good halt up, dips, rips, and then immediately makes a new low of day. What's hard for me to do is like to be buying these stocks down here, right? Like below VWAP, dips like this, where the way how I trade is just, I could do it, but it goes against everything. And it messes up my brain. Sometimes even trying to manage the trade becomes more tricky because the levels that, I would typically look for, whether it's resistance or support, everything is like flipped upside down. It's hopefully I see some hotter markets here. But the fills, as I mean, even in the past, right? The fills, as usual, you have to be very careful. Even when you're thinking you're buying fast and early into like I'm buying as a stock is just flushing down, which is highly risky, and I'm still in 20 cents higher in a lot of areas despite seeing a tighter spread on our way down. So you got to be careful because you can get caught badly. Big Steve never left, bro. Big Steve better tell them. Big Steve has been quietly printing 1K a day, finding a way to get it done. One of the top traders here in the community, Big Steve. We got about 28 seconds for the resumption lower here. If it holds 680 and bounces for those looking at the dip, that could be good. But be careful of the risk. 7-Eleven on the ask. Is TPAT halted up or is it just moving slowly? No. Is that AIM? Okay, AIM might be halted up. But it's below the VWAP still. I don't know. I think taking the small green here and walking is the right move. So, I mean, I hate to be shutting it down at like 10, 15 a.m. every day here this week, but unless this gives like a insane red to green back to like 760, I mean, it could happen. But for now, I think it's a little weaker. Maybe we get above VWAP, consolidate, and then maybe a big green candle comes over time. But AIM back down on the resumption. This is the third day in a row we saw something, right? I'm just hoping we see more opportunities like this. You know, what's it called? WNW, and then we had something yesterday, and one of the cheaper stocks going up to 150, 160. If we see this, I mean, if we're to see this the rest of the week, I'm gonna wire like 100,000 to this account, and then on Monday I'll size up right away. Like, but I don't know if we'll see any momentum at all the rest of the days here. We'll have to see. Right now, this is a small account, so I don't even know if I can afford to take size. Sometimes your order will just get rejected because there's not enough cash in the account. If you're pushing too much size, there's a $7.80 stock at one point. Yeah, funny. I wouldn't even be able to take one block. Damn. I wouldn't even be able to take one block of any size, much less trying to buy a couple times. You got Dash, you got Marcelo, you got North. A couple of top traders here in the chat also saying they think the day is slowing down here, at least for the first wave. In the next 30 minutes, next hour, something else could be going up, or a red to green on one of these stocks. AIM at 130, getting closer to the VWAP. But in this moment, everything is looking a little slower. So it's not a bad place to ease off, even if you are red. Like just easing off and being more careful here. It's no excuse whether we're green, red, flat to try and push on the backside of a move. Of course, if you're short and you're getting the move down, it's a different story. But AIM at 133, getting closer to the VWAP. The halt up is at 138. I was thinking about yesterday. I was happy that despite feeling the FOMO, didn't give in to any temptations of trying anything crazy. Even the dip trade out of the resumption down. It's a trade that I only want to take if I have a big cushion and I'm willing to give a little back off the top if it doesn't work. But seeing that trade work out yesterday was a good sign for what I like to see. But still, it's high risk trade, and trying to go crazy in that type of setup, it's just not worth it. You have a small green day, go bigger red, and you're like, what are you doing with yourself, right? Is how it feels. So trading, as we know, can be stressful. There's a bunch of different emotions that can come with this territory, this field. So the best thing we can do for ourselves every day is to try and manage risk and be very careful as we proceed. Even when it doesn't go our way, just manage the risks to the best of our abilities. And at least we can sleep at night, because if we're breaking all of our rules, then it becomes very difficult to look at ourselves in the mirror and feel happy. So let's try to do all the correct things in alignment with our strategy, and slow and steady. Hopefully we can also see some good momentum from the market. Stay safe, stay green. Pastor shutting it down. I'll catch you guys later. For those of you that are on YouTube, you can hit the thumbs up on the way out. Don't forget to check out the chat room. If you're interested in keeping the conversation going, I can post a link for anybody who's interested. And you guys can also feel free. I think I'm going to make a video at some point going over the new platforms I'm using. Let's see here. I'll post a link for you guys on YouTube. I'll make a video at some point going over the new platforms, but you know, ever since Thinkorswim, you know, banned us and we transitioned to other platforms, I'd say there's been a lot of good things. One, I'd never go back to just using one broker alone because I think there's just too much risk in that. I only really traded with Schwab back in the day. You know, I had E-Trade as well for swing trading, which I still do, but having one platform to actively trade, I think, is just too risky. You know, everyone who got banned, we kind of like came up to different conclusions as to why we got banned, but the brokers, they never really gave us a clear-cut answer. So, you know, I think having multiple platforms now is the way to go. So for free commissions, I'm using Webull, and for pre-market and after-hour trading, I have Guardian Trading and Sage Trader. That way I can be robust there with you know, direct access for extended hour periods, and then E-Trade I still have as a swing account. I can trade there, but ever since they got rid of E-Trade Pro, I don't think it's even worth like the free commission trades, you know. So for me, it's just a swing account, and their hotkeys are not as good as Thinkorswim, Webull, so it doesn't even make sense to me really. Webull has better hotkeys than Thinkorswim, but Thinkorswim can be connected to DAS if you're like, you know, utilizing DAS Trader. Guardian and Sage are DAS Trader like linked, so you have all the hotkeys there. And then, you know, thank God for honestly Day Trade Dash, really best charts if you ask me. No issues other than the Cloudflare issue that time, and that's about it. Scanners are good, charts are good. I even still utilize scanners on YouTube too, but you know, I don't have any complaints here. So in terms of like this, the trading setup, like in the operation, I don't have any issues in terms of like what I had if I'm missing anything. So yeah. I guess if I'm to give like one critique, I would say is that I have to type in the same symbol one extra time, which is not that bad, right? It's not that bad. You guys who watch me trade in the chat room on Thinkorswim might have like 2 order entries, because I don't know, I was a little paranoid at that time. Like I didn't want to trade through DAS a lot of the times because, you know, I felt like there's like a slight delay. Nowadays, I don't think there's a delay, right? Being that I'm utilizing it through other platforms, but I executed through Thinkorswim exclusively just so I could have, you know, the fastest fills. So I had 2 order entry windows, one with big size, one with small size. With Webull, there's no need for 2 or 3 order entry windows because there's hotkeys. But yeah, shutting it down right here. AIM over VWAP. The halt up is 6 cents away. If the halt levels were wider, I think I would have stuck around, but I'm going to shut it down here. Stay safe, stay green. Taking the small victory here. Catch you guys later. Hit the thumbs up.